Good evening and a happy new year. I am former Army Corporal Cliff Purvis, introducing you to this month's Recce Report.
Good evening, everyone. If you're watching on the catch-up, good morning, good afternoon as well. My name's Russ, former British Army warrant officer, and we're here again today to talk about the complete shambles that is British politics in the UK today. Aren't we, Cliff?
Absolutely, Ross, absolutely. We couldn't have script writers. We could not employ script writers that could come out with a script that is happening all around us. The so-called established order of things emanating with the tentacles from Westminster seems to be collapsing, imploding, probably a better phrase. We have just recently over the weekend there had the MPs earnings declared, which is always a good one. Yeah, which is always a good one. And they reckon that 20% of the MPs, so there's 650 MPs, so they reckon that 20% of those MPs are accepting payments. Now, the downside to that is 90% of that 20% happen to be Tory MPs. So that's 117 Tory MPs roughly that are accepting those payments.
It is, mate. Yeah, we checked the maths before we came on. That is, 117 Tory MPs of. So how many have they got in the House? They've got three. They've got an 80-seat majority, so they've got about 360, 380. So that's it. At least a third of the Tory MPs are taking these enormous sums from often quite less than opaque sources.
You're absolutely right. You have to question, that someone that's taken this kind of donations, I think they're termed as. And let's be honest here, they are legal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Westminster is constructed in such a way that this is not an illegal operation. Most companies, it would be conduct unbecoming. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But not in Westminster. So what was it on the TV today or the news today? They had people chapping doors at these various companies.
Yeah. I seen one earlier. I can't remember the name. I wouldn't mention it anyway for fear of being sued. But I think it was an internet provider who donated massive sums to one particular Tory MP. And the Sky News presenter went to knock on the door of the building. It was an empty building.
Yeah. Are they all working from home? Yeah. There's no way on this planet or any other planet that these Tory MPs can be reading bills, debating bills, and then voting on bills with clear conscience. Without any sort of bias. They've got to be. Someone wangs in 20 grand to you. Yeah, you're gonna start thinking they're a good people, and we're going to work out things to their benefit.
No, you're right. And there was a thing a while back where I think it was Ian Hislop was at a select committee talking about this. And he's saying, these companies are not giving MPs money for the goodness of their heart. They want something. They want something for their money, and we should know what it is they want for their money.
Well, yeah, that goes then down to the lobbying, doesn't it? And David Cameron is involved heavily with that. That's where he's ended up, since his complete cluster of a Brexit. Dave just called me. Was it Dave Boy? Dave just called me Dave. Since his complete cluster of Brexit, he's now gone off to run some sort of or be part of some sort of lobbying campaign. So
shocker.
It's typical. I guess that's where a retired Tory prime minister ends up, if not in the Lords.
Mm-hmm.
Which really does. I've lost my count. I've lost my timer, Russ. There we go. I'm back on time again. Yep. Yeah. So yes, there has to be surely some sort of overhaul of the system, the democratic system in the UK. Mm-hmm. Scotland, of course, has an idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have a fair few people now in Scotland that are of the same idea that maybe they're a bit tired with the union. Not that the union's tired, but
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
tired with the union, and we would just like another vote on whether or not to be
yeah.
independent or not. Yeah, how Northern Ireland, Wales, and England then deal with themselves, that's entirely up to those fine folk down in those countries. But Scotland, yeah, definitely is now of the opinion that it should be at least given the chance to vote
Yeah.
for
I,
independence.
I
Yeah,
I think you're right, mate. I think I didn't think I'd ever see the day where we would come out of the EU. I mean, the EU wasn't perfect. I don't think anyone was saying that, but given what it was set up to do, it worked pretty well. And people talk about the union as if it's this immutable thing. The truth is, the union as it stands today um, is less than, in fact, it's probably just now about 120 years old.
the union as it
In
is
fact,
just now is
I know
100
it's
years,
100. If it's
101,
100, in fact, it's
101.
101 years old, isn't it?
Yeah, yep,
Because it was the Union of the United Kingdom. In fact, it wasn't the United Kingdom, wasn't it? It was the Union of the Crown, 1603, I think. Then the Treaty of Union, Scotland and England, 1707.
yeah,
It still wasn't United Kingdom then. It wasn't the United Kingdom until 1801, when it was the
yep,
United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland,
yep,
which lasted until 1921,
yep,
when Ireland went, having none of this,
yep.
and off they went. So the current union is barely 100 years old. So when they talk about this 300-year-old union, it's not. It just means we've been part of that mishmash for 300 years. But the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, it's only 100 years old,
Exactly.
which is
And
not which is nothing in the grand scheme of political things.
yeah, it's yeah. If you measure in the political epochs as it
Mm.
was, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's nothing. And remember about this empire anyway. When people start going on about the empire, yeah, you know, it was never established to benefit the plebs.
No, of course it wasn't.
It was a money generating
Huh.
organization.
It was the East India Company.
Yep.
All these people all about pillaging resources and making money for people that were already rich enough to hire ships and transport resources, cotton, slaves,
Yep.
on all the things that happened.
Well,
And it
the
was not.
George,
It was
yeah,
not. It was
the
not a
George,
nice thing for those countries that we decided were ours.
yeah, the Georgian kings.
Mm.
Whatever their first one was, George whatever one or whatever he was called, his son, the Prince of Wales or whatever he was then, he benefited greatly from the slave trade. That old
Yeah,
triangle of slaves going out,
yeah.
sugar coming back, and the rum going
Hmm.
back the other way, and that type of thing. So yeah, the whole monarchy thing is also
Yeah, yeah.
based. The rich has come from the slave trade, but yeah, this thing about the great, majestic, fantastic, all-powerful
Yeah.
empires, even nonsense. Any time the
It was.
empire came up against any opposition that was of equal technical ability, yeah, they
Oh
didn't
yeah,
fare
yeah.
too well. Yeah,
No.
obviously they also lost in the in Afghanistan. Long
Yeah,
before the
yeah.
current wars. I think it was what twice,
Oh, yeah.
twice.
Um, I- is it no? No. This has been the third Afghan
It's,
conflict,
yeah,
hasn't it?
this has been the third one.
So
So during the
the
imperial
first and second
times.
Afghan War. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, Kipling so famously said so many years ago. A paraphrase: "Just don't go to Afghanistan. You're going to get your ass kicked."
Well, also, yeah, don't volunteer and don't invade Afghanistan. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So I mean, they got their collective imperial ass handed to them. I mean, you think about the 13 colonies out in the eastern seaboard of the US. Yeah. Okay, they
yeah,
had
yeah,
French support, but they won it. The Boers down in
yeah,
South Africa
yeah, yeah.
taught them a brand new way to fight a war. And we
Hmm.
had to resort to scorched earth tactics, including concentration camps
Yeah.
to resolve that particular matter.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's never
A
been
great British
anything.
invention.
Yes, there's never been anything glorious about the empire. Yeah, it was.
Any empire.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing, mate. The Roman Empire, the Grecian Empire,
Yep.
Alexander's empire, all of these kind of things. They were not about not about spreading democracy. They were about taking what you wanted. I mean, at least the Vikings didn't pretend. At least the Vikings were like, that's some nice shiny stuff. I think we'll have that.
Yeah, and do the slaves as well. Apparently, the Vikings had a rip-roaring slave trade going down the Volga, going into the Black Sea.
Yeah, but they didn't pretend. But they didn't pretend to be anything other than marauders and raiders.
Yeah, what they were, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. This thing we keep coming back to the benefits of the great empire and all that. The benefits of the great empire were to a select few. The propaganda has been the currency of it. Yeah, and acid stripping was the removing of movable assets has been the highest of priorities. Getting back to the Elgin marbles.
Yeah,
there was
and and it all ties into the start of the Industrial Revolution there, where manpower became just another asset.
Yeah, absolutely.
You needed bodies. You needed bodies in America, you needed bodies to pick the cotton. I said it was a comedian the other day, an Irish guy in America, and he said, I went to America and I didn't realize, that I had privilege. He said, in Ireland we had potatoes and we picked them ourselves. Who would travel across the land and steal people from somewhere else to come and pick your potatoes?
Well, that's it.
But that's it. Yeah, manpower became a commodity, didn't it? And it was the same. That's why, although we may not have had many slaves in the traditional sense in the UK, we had wage slaves. You had children working in the cotton mills and in the fields and up chimneys and this is in recent history. This only stopped 100 and something years ago.
Yeah, and that's where we're heading back to with the Tories' assault on.
That's Rees-Mogg, isn't it? Rees-Mogg, the Minister for Victorian Values, isn't he?
Yeah, well, Victorian something. I think values, Russ, is inverted commas on that one. Yeah. It's absolutely the whole implosion has been wonderful to see, though, because we've also had it from the royalty.
Yeah.
The royal family. I'm just absolutely amazed at how quickly the House of Windsor are imploding now that Queen Elizabeth is gone. She really must have been, this super glue for that family.
Yeah.
Because it's all gone horribly, horribly wrong very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you say that. I mean, Andrew's still walking around scot-free, and the things he's alleged to have done would have warranted at least an investigation. One would have thought, but no, we're more focused on, Harry's book because he's the first ex-soldier ever to write a book about his exploits in Afghanistan.
Or exploits anywhere on the planet.
Well, it was Tim Collins was berating him, and Tim Collins has got a book out.
Yep.
Talks about his exploits in Iraq and Northern Ireland and all this sort of stuff. And you're like, oh my God, what a travesty! It's the hypocrisy.
Yeah,
it absolutely is.
And weren't the press shouting about what Harry's up to out in the Afghan on his second tour when he was doing the helicopter stuff?
No, it was the first time. It was the first time he had to come back early. So the first time they tried to keep it quiet, he was out there doing. He was working as a FAC, wasn't he? The first time. And then the press found out about it.
Forward air controller.
Yeah, sorry for the TLAs, the 3-letter acronyms. And he had to come back early. But then the second time he was there when he was doing the Apache stuff, they're all over it. They're bigging up, weren't they? Look at what he's doing. He's a big roughy, toughy Apache pilot.
Yeah, what did they really think? Well, he was a gunner. He wasn't even the pilot. Yeah. So what did they really think he was doing in that front seat? So it's shouldn't come as any surprise about. Okay, I personally think he's getting some bad advice at the moment.
Maybe.
But what he's doing is not unusual. Every soldiers of rank have, and soldiers without rank have also written their books and memoirs about their experiences.
Yeah.
But the way the remainder of that family, the House of Windsor, have turned on them and unleashed their hounds in the press, it's I just don't get it. I really don't.
And it's that core element. So it's not. I mean, you're not talking about Zara Phillips or people like this. It's it's Charles and it's William, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
It really it's Charles and William. Let's be honest. You're not hearing much from Edward and Andrew's wisely keeping his head down.
Yeah.
And it really is. And it's but how dare he not toe the line? How dare he decide he's not going to play that game anymore?
Yeah.
And how shocked are we that the kid that had to walk behind his mother's coffin and everything that she endured from the British press is suddenly gone, sod it. I don't need this.
Well, that's it. And he doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't. It's obviously the press in this country is going to come down on the side of his father and of his older brother. Yeah. But just how out of touch is that father of his? I mean, I always thought that his father was a reformist.
Yeah, but then you see the press where once I knew it was a new something something that's a couple of million quid. Little comment there from Hashbury. The BBC royal correspondent has been doing his best to dismiss Harry. Well, yeah, it's the BBC, isn't it?
Yes.
They can't have them going against the establishment.
Yeah. No. They are the propaganda outlet for it. Yeah. But I mean, with his father being, I was led to believe, was a reformist. And he certainly made one or two noises along that lines. Yeah. But he still wants this coronation of his to have all the bongs, gongs, and whistles. Yeah. We quite literally have people starving to death because that's what food poverty is.
Yeah.
We quite literally have people dying from hypothermia because they cannot afford to heat their homes. And this guy
but at what point do we get angry enough to do something about it? We're all still quintessentially British in that respect. Is that we just doff the cap, bow the head, bend the knee. At least the French had the decency to have a revolution when the nobles got a bit too uppity.
Yeah, it's exactly that, Russ. It's that 22 miles of water that separates this archipelago from mainland Europe, and that is the only reason we have not had a revolution since way back. Cromwell.
Cromwell on their own heads, and
and that, and think of all the. I almost swore there. Think of all the rubbish that's been going on since 16, whatever that was. So
and that was before the Treaty of Union.
Yes, we just had the Union of Crowns at the time, not the Union of Parliaments.
Yeah.
So I honestly, I did not come into this campaign as a Republican. I was let's just keep them. That's good. Unfortunately, with everything that's been going on this last 8 years or so, I have actually now landed myself in the Republican camp, and that's not an easy thing to say.
No, right.
and it's not a flippant thing to say either.
No.
But that's where I am at this moment.
Yeah, because, and as you know, mate, we've had this conversation. I'm very kind of apathetic about the Royals. I'd much rather we had a bicycling monarchy like they do in Norway, which means you have the monarch, then everyone else goes out and gets a bloody job. Even the monarch. I think we really need to scale down the state of the monarchy. My big thing, for what it's worth, is that And I quite like the fact that as members of the armed forces, we don't swear allegiance to a politician.
Yeah,
I think something would feel really off to me about swearing allegiance to a commander in chief that was elected. Because then you get idiots like America, idiots like Trump who are parading around and saluting Marines. You're like, oh, mate, no.
Balanced opinion as always there, Russ.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, with regards to the monarchy, yeah, I think it's an anachronism, isn't it?
Yeah.
In what's supposed to be an enlightened 21st century democracy, we have inherited privilege.
Yes.
Well, not inherited wealth. No, that's fine. That's another thing we can maybe talk about. But inherited privilege, the fact that simply by the virtue of your birth, you are going to be the king or queen of a country. That just seems, yeah, so 15th century. Never mind 21st.
Yeah, which
as I say, I'm apathetic. If we had a vote to get rid of the monarchy, I'd probably vote to abolish them.
Because that leads nicely then into what the Lords are about. That second largest unelected legislative body in the world. It's only beaten by the People's Republic of China.
Chinese.
Yeah. And just for Christmas there, they had one of their own. The Viscount Younger of Recce was given the job as parliamentary Undersecretary for the Department of Work and Pensions, because he's going to be able to relate. People going to get a job.
He's a man with his finger on the pulse, isn't he? He's there.
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy that inherited the wealth, the title. It's the Youngers Brewing conglomerate.
Oh,
that's where he's from.
Do they still make that? Is that still on the shelves? Do you still get that Youngers? Tart nail, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Is it still there?
No idea. I buy all that German stuff now.
If anyone's watching and knows if you can still get tart nail, then just leave us a comment.
Yeah, with players on tip cigarettes. Yes. So, how did we survive our childhood?
I'm not sure we did, to be honest.
Okay then. Yeah. So this guy, Viscount Younger.
Viscount.
Yeah, Viscount. Yes. He was apparently elected to the job. And when I read that, when I read that, I thought, hang on, I've missed a trick here. We've actually got lords that get elected. So I did a little bit of research, and it wasn't an election as we would understand it. This was an election held in the House of Lords. So it was the Lords.
So it was a selection rather than an election.
Yes, but they used he was elected. It was a by-election. Someone stood down, and he caused the by-election, and he was promoted into the role. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, that place, isn't it? A huge money pit. They're all money vampires down there, I'm telling you. Hosing up our hard-earned cash, Russ. You okay?
What, 300 something quid a day in it? They get House of Lords?
Yeah, yes. If they attend prayers, which is first thing in the morning, they get £300 for doing that. They don't even have to stay the whole day.
But if he's elected as a minister, does he then get that £300 a day and his ministerial salary?
He will be on some sort of ministerial salary. I didn't check on that. I will check. I will have answers. What else has been on the go? We had Rod Little over at the Spectator getting really upset because he did one of these fun DNA things, and he and he obviously is so full of himself because he thought he was some sort of Swedish Scandinavian type hero, and it turns out that he's actually percentage-wise for these tests, which are they're jokes. Know they're jokes.
But it was like 70% Scottish or something. He found out.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
and he was not happy.
he was very much so, and he wrote a piece in the Spectator. So it's not only him, but the editor of the Spectator is equally as guilty as this. And it's a type of commentary, and I'm not going to read any of it out because it's a type of commentary that we are all sick to death of. Yeah. He this colonial attitude to anybody out with the London bubble, basically.
But it's also that feeling of, it's almost not quite, but it's almost that kind of ethnic nationalism, isn't it? Is that is that, I'm not, I thought I was a pure blood Englishman, and I'm not. I'm tainted with the blood of Scots people. No, and I'm going to be. I need to come out here and say, mate, right? We're in Scotland. We don't care, what your bloodline is. Who your great granny was sleeping with. We don't really give a stuff. You want to come in Scotland. You want to come to Scotland, live in Scotland, work in Scotland, and make a contribution to Scotland. As far as we're concerned, you're Scottish, mate.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
I don't care what the color of your skin is. Everybody looks good in a kilt.
Yes. There's no such thing as a scruffy kilt.
Exactly.
Yeah. But this guy, he also believed that he was related to the Viking heroes, like Ragnar and stuff like this. I've just seen a photograph of the guy. The guy's more closely related to Viking stationery.
Really?
Oh, he looks as though he's copying himself or styling himself.
Has he got no chin, mate? You got no chin, mate. Is there evidence of some inbreeding going on?
Well, yeah. What was it they say about the English? They breed. What was it the Duchess of Kent said? They breed their horses and dogs better than their children. That's your ethnic style of those type of people. But yet they're supposedly. We're supposed to, as you quite rightly said, these are the type of people we're supposed to doff our caps to and stuff like this. People ask me why I want independence for my country. Have they not listened to one of these things?
Yeah, I know, mate. Nice wee comment there from Evelyn. That's where we say we're all Jock Tamson's bairns. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, I go back in my own kind of ancestry, and I think I get back to about 1700 or something in Scotland, and then it disappears into England and Ireland respectively. So we're all, none of us are from here, mate. You know what I mean? You go back far enough, we're all going to be in Africa.
Yeah, go back far enough, we're all immigrants. Yeah, we did. Humanity started there. Well, on my father's side, my grandfather was from Tyneside. Right. My father was born in England to an English family. They moved up to Rosyth. My mother's side is all from Caithness. So I am 50% English. Half my family are English. Half my friends are English. I have no problems with anybody from whatever country. I have problems with people who have attitude.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing to be proud of, isn't it? That your ancestors, that your ancestors were so insular, that they only mixed with people who were exactly like them. So I'm glad he's got Scottish blood. I think he had some Irish in there as well. So good. I'm glad, mate. I'm glad that you're in the same melting pot as the rest of us.
Yeah, because
that's how it should be.
Look what happened to the ancient Egyptians, when they did all that insular inbreeding.
Well, going back to what you said earlier, mate, look at the royal family. The royal family had a history of what's it called? That blood
hemophilia.
Thing. Hemophilia. Yeah, that was rampant in the royal family.
Yep.
For centuries. Whether they've still got it or not, I don't know. But yeah, that's a genetic thing. It's a recessive gene, so it only comes from people that are closely related passing it on.
Yep. Russ, we are at 10 seconds to go, buddy.
We are, mate. It's I can't believe how quickly that's gone. Thank you, everyone for tuning in tonight and listening to our inane ramblings for the last 30 minutes. We do appreciate it. We love it. We love the comments. Keep them coming. Tune in again next time we're on. When are we on again, Cliff?
It will be the second Monday, in February.
Second Monday in February, where we'll be on our 10th edition next time. So yeah, I can't believe they let us keep doing this.
It's good fun. And folks, thanks very much for tuning in. It's always a privilege to get this little bit of time to get our comments over, to get our opinions over, I should say. And please keep the comments coming in, keep the suggestions coming in. We'll expand things and as this year rockets in. So until next month, folks, this is Cliff Purvis signing off from the Recce Report.
Excellent. I'm Russ Denny, and I'll see you all next month. Take care.